Hi, welcome to the garden today. Today it's hot. I'm in Texas, Zone 9A, just about 45 minutes north of Beaumont. And I'm going to be planting some of the brassicas today. They really do best. Your broccoli and your cauliflower do best if you put them in a container first and then transfer them outside after they're up and growing. Because honestly, I know it's time to grow stuff like mustards and beets and things of that nature. It's just been so hot, I'm really reluctant to try to do that outside. So I have not done that. Might not do that till it finally breaks. It's both good and bad for us down here. It's good in the fact that it's keeping the hurricanes out. Bad is the Gulf keeps getting hot. So one day something's going to break. You start getting enough fronts down that it keeps the hurricanes from coming in, or a little tropical wave moves into the Gulf and we get this really big one. But anyway, so far nothing at all has hit the Gulf, which is unusual for us. So it's a little bit scary. I did plant these Green Magic broccoli earlier. They have not done well. I'm not really sure why. I did start putting a little bit of fertilizer to it, but I didn't think that I should because the fertilizer, the potting mix that I was using shouldn't need, check some. Yeah, I think it'll work. Should not need to have fertilizer added to it. But since you're getting all this coloration, look like lack of nitrogen, I put just a little bit of Miracle Grow. I think it was it's half rate of the small, half a teaspoon, I think it is, to a gallon of water. And tried that and see if it's going to work. I've also had them sitting outside at night so they can kind of get used to the wind and the outside temperatures, and see if I can't get these up and going. Don't really know what the problem is, and if it continues, I know I'm doing something wrong. So we're going to try some more on the broccoli. I've got plenty of room out in the garden to plant them. The way I'm going to do this is just use a pin, make your little hole. Don't want to plant these too deep. I also don't want anything heavy on top of them. And then just try to put, I'm still going to put 2 per hole. Now you don't want both of them growing, but that way it gives you a better chance of, getting something up. Sometimes you'll find the pelleted seeds, and pelleted seeds are nice because it makes it a whole lot easier to plant. But though it's a lot easier to plant, the seeds don't last as long. So it's kind of that, I think there's 2 in there. And like I say, you could get by with one. I put a couple on some of these, and I can see some of them didn't even have one that come up in them. The only thing that kind of makes you mad though is you'll put 2 in every one of them, and one of them none will come up, and the other 2 will come up. And I don't like messing with the roots. I'm not a big. A lot of people like to mess with the roots and pull stuff apart and all. To me, the more stress you put on that plant, the harder it's going to be to make it. Well, I think I got 3. Now the one thing that does make me a little bit nervous is if you go too far into the summertime or into the wintertime, your stuff stops growing. I'm not going to mark these because I've already got the marker here, and I know the ones I don't mark is also the Green Magic. I'm going to be putting, to cover these, I'm just going to be putting some vermiculite over the top because it kind of tends to keep moisture in better. Now you could just go with some more, potting mix on top of it if you wanted to. And then whenever I water these, I will put just a little bit of the nitrogen in there. Just, I don't really know what to do because the stuff that I use for Foxfire Farms from the Ocean Forest worked really, really well for the tomatoes last 2 years. So it's not like, well, okay, I've had one bad one, what's, you know, I'm not going to really blame it. But this here is the twister cauliflower, and it's good because on it, it'll twist the leaves around it so you don't have to try to bunch it up. And that way you're, if you're not bunched up, you don't, it'll keep them white. I didn't go a lot of seeds this year. I'm kind of glad I didn't because as hot as it's been. Another thing about planting a little bit deeper like this is it keeps those seeds from floating off. It's easy whenever you do water. You don't want to be really aggressive in your watering. I did go ahead and pre-moisten these and actually had it where there was water in the bottom of it some, just to make sure I was wet all the way through, so I don't have as much problems. I dropped them. Of course, if we're going to be doing a video, somebody's going to drive by. Of course, we do live out in the country. You know, there's laws about riding four-wheelers and stuff on the road. Yeah, I don't mean nothing out here. And really, it's that don't bother me. It's just different. I'm also trying to plant different depths. I would say to see how it would work, but if I don't keep a log on which ones I'm planting the depths, and how long do I know? That's the unscientific method, which I have noticed what a lot of gardeners do. You know, they'll plant something one year, and then they'll do it a different way the next year, and they get better success. And they go, oh, well, that's because I planted something different. I did something a different way, which really doesn't mean anything because you don't know what it would have produced if you would have planted it the other way. You know, if you say, I'm going to use a certain fertilizer or a certain mix, if you don't plant it the same year, because every year is going to be different. And what you may have a really good success one year, the next year may not have success at all. So you don't know, was it because you changed something up or not? Or even worse, they'll do like 2 or 3 things and then think, oh boy, well, something I did helped out, but they don't know which one it is because they did it, you know, 3 different things. Well, what one thing was it that did it? And if you're going to do anything that makes any sense, you have to have what they call control group that you've done the old way to see if the new way's helped any. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They seem to think that, you know, they just don't really use a lot of common sense whenever they garden. Now, this tray here is a 72 tray. What I like about these is whenever you get ready to plant them, you just push them up from the bottom and they come out really easy. You're not having to pull plants out like this, because I will say one thing on your broccolis. You know, tomato plants, pepper plants, you let them get big enough you can pull them out. Broccolis don't have a very good root system, and that doesn't work very well for that. So I never try to pull my plants out by the stem on my broccolis. You can do that with the pepper plants and tomato plants pretty easy, especially tomato plants. I mean, if you can't pull them out, you know, whenever you try to, you know, they're a little bit dry and you pull and they don't come out, they're not big enough yet. So you let them get a little bigger. But these, that's just one thing I've noticed, that your broccolis and stuff just don't have the root system that your other plants do. The other thing about the broccolis and the cauliflowers, they can handle a little bit of cold weather as long as they're not fruiting. if they got the tops on them and it freezes, it can kill them. And because that happened to me last year, and it got a little late in the year, and I didn't get them planted quite early enough, and they didn't do that well. But anyway, that's the two types that I'm growing this year. One other thing that I wanted to show you, you can see this, and I'm probably not going to have to add any water because it's soaking up water. So no use putting more water than you need. And that's a good thing about vermiculite. It'll soak up that water and keep everything moist on it. We'll see if it does it over here also. And yeah, I do like vermiculite because of that reason. I don't really like it that well when I put it in a pot, because to me it keeps things too wet. The other thing I was going to show you is on the carrots. I planted carrots here close to a week ago. And you want to keep it moist on top. And I didn't really show you how. I know my son put some water out here early this afternoon. You may, if you want to water these 2 or 3 times a day, that's fine. But whenever you wet it down, this is just how you do it. You don't want to, soak it real. You don't want to soak it too much, but you do want to keep that top from ever drying out, because these seeds are sitting right on top of the ground, or with an 1/8 of an inch. Some of them are on top of the ground. So you don't ever want them to dry out. But you don't want to flood it so much that everything rots either. So that's about as much as I put on it. And I'll do that now, and I'll come back later tomorrow in the morning when I leave for work. I'll do the same thing. So I'm doing it 2 times a day. It wouldn't hurt to do it 3 times a day, just to keep that top of that soil moist. That's the secret to getting the carrots to sprout. I am worried about the fact that we're still hitting the 90s and mid 90s. I think today was just the lower 90s, but that does concern me. Will they sprout with that hot temperature, especially with the black compost that's on top of it? See, I'm going to heat it up some more, but we'll see. Gardening's always a learning experience. One thing I did want to show you, my tomatoes all died in the garden. I tried last year growing up here and they all died. I've had a volunteer growing in the weeds. It's doing just fine. I mean, you sure hardly see any disease on it. I don't know. I don't know if maybe there's just not, it might be because stuff's not splashing up on them as bad. Don't really know for sure. But I just noticed that the other day, and look, you didn't mow it down. But anyway, that's that. I will show really quick over here with the corn, show how it's doing. And it's gonna need some water, because see right at the bottom, when it gets like that, it needs to have some water to it. But it's got the little ears of corn on it, starting to tassel out. And hopefully I get some, I was growing this for seed corn for the big garden next spring. And forget the name of it. It was a special type of corn that they grew to be, it's got higher nutrients in it and stuff, and it's more for sustainability. But the seed's really expensive, so you almost have to grow the seed, and it is open pollinated, so you can save the seed. I know I was seeing a video today showing how come farmers can't save their seed and grow their own seed. They can, as long as it's not GMO. You can even do it with hybrid seeds, it just won't turn out right. But there's no law against saving your own seeds unless it's GMO seed. And the only plant that's GMO, a genetically modified organism, only one that they've got on the market for gardeners is what they call the purple tomato. That's the name of it. And it is the only one, only one company sells it. And they were kind of funny, because even they said you could save the seed and plant it for yourself. You just could not sell the seed, or you couldn't sell the fruit that you grew from the seed. But as far as if you wanted to trade with other people, they didn't put all the restrictions that they put on for farmers on a lot of the genetically modified ones. And I'm in the farming industry. I work for the USDA. I don't deal with any type of the seeds, any of that part of it. We just deal with the conservation side of it. But I see with GMOs, I see it both ways. So I don't grow GMO seeds. I don't really interested in growing them. It does concern me in the fact that I think that one day that could limit, if they start going more and more that route, it could limit our choices. I like the open pollinated. So that way you can grow what you want to and save the seed and continue on with it if you want to. But anyway, that's all I've got for today. It's really hot and I got to start watering. So I'll see you next time. Happy gardening. Bye.